Well, I did it. 150 new colonies for the summer of 2023. Today is July 23rd. I started doing splits May 4th. I had a little bit of trouble with the wildfire smoke early June. I had a lot of colonies that didn't complete their queen cells, and I can just assume it was because of the smoky air that they weren't getting the signal in the colony that they didn't have a queen. And then along this garage here, it took 3 tries here to get 50%. I had basically 75% failure twice, and then it took 3 tries to get 50% colonies here. So here are, and I'm not making this up, this is from my notes. We'll go over here, it's windy out. This is from my notes. I have a notebook here that represents what's going on in each colony. It's a little rough because it gets carried around with me. Okay, and then when I get a virgin queen, this is my virgin queen notebook. The red represents failed mating nuke. The virgin queen didn't get mated, she got lost. Started here. So I started May 14th, and I had virgin queen by May 16th. Right away it started up being good, fairly good, and then it got really bad. This was end of May, early June was a wildfire smoke. After we got the air cleared up, it got better. Doing better. And some of this is bleeding through. But anyway, here's my list. List of colonies that are new. Each row is 35. There's 4 rows of 35. That's 140. And here's 10. And then do the math. I still know how to do math old school. It's $22,500 that I made during the summer. How much money have I spent? Well, not a lot. I've been building hives, but that money is not wasted. I had 200 complete hives, and I reached a total of 264 colonies, but I'm currently down to 220. I eliminated 2 yesterday. A virgin queen that was on her 13th day. She looked like she was mated. 173. Sometimes they look like they got mated and they never lay. And I went ahead and I killed her on the 13th day. I got tired of waiting for her somewhere here. And then I had, I could have been desperate and got my 150 sooner, but I had a queen that started laying, but she was really small. And the day she started laying, I decided that I didn't want to keep her. Well, actually, what I did was I combined her, that colony. That colony was small. And this colony right here is the one that I killed. Killed the virgin queen because she wouldn't lay within 13 days. So I thought, okay, I'll take the other small mating nuke that I have that has a just now laying queen. But when I put her on here and I looked at her, I said, well, I really don't want that queen. I don't think she's going to make it. She wasn't much bigger than a worker bee. So then I took another small colony, put on here. And so this is basically a series of adding 3 different colonies. And what I did was yesterday, I had a lot of plywood. I made a bunch of plywood hives last year from plywood I had sitting around. I already had all this metal, most of it anyway. So I rearranged the numbers so that these numbers here, the ones that don't have a second deep, that I give them basically either a gray deep. This is a gray deep, but I don't have a painted number on it. Or I can give them a plywood. I have 12 of these plywood ones. So I rearranged the numbers yesterday so that all my plywood would be underneath the roof. This plywood doesn't hold up very well in the rain. If this gets wet, it's going to start coming apart. So let me open this up and I'll show you the quality of my queens. All right, before I lose this queen, here she is. And the story behind this queen is yesterday when I was rearranging frames, I had her in my hand. I figured that was the safest place for her while I was rearranging frames. And I didn't want to squeeze too tight. She was in my left hand. Didn't want to squeeze her too tight. And while I was rearranging frames, she somehow got out. So I thought, oh my God. I've had this happen before. Get a queen lost and never find her. So I never saw her on the concrete here or on the ground anywhere. So I went ahead and went back through the frames, and she somehow went from my hand back into the hive. So laying queens can fly. I don't care what the textbooks say or what other beekeepers say. She flew from my hand into the hive. There's no other way she could have got in there. These bees try to intimidate me. I'm not scared of bees unless there's like 50 of them after me. When I get just a few of them after me, and they go up against my, fly in my face, up against my mouth and stuff, yeah, that's kind of intimidating, but I got my business here, the things I have to do, and they're not going to stop me from doing what I have to do. I get stung a lot, and for you people that can't handle being stung, well, if you got honeybees, you're going to get stung. And for you Americans that can't handle my criticism about how stupid you are, I've never said anything that wasn't true. And then I got people leave messages on my phone calling me an asshole, a dick, or whatever. That's fine. It doesn't bother me. I enjoy conflict. If I had time, I would spend time debating you guys. I have done that before. I've debated people on the internet about stupid shit. But let's face it, your government's corrupt. If you're driving around with a U.S. flag on your vehicle, or you have a U.S. flag in your yard, you are brainwashed. Being a patriot is just another form of control. The military-industrial complex has been robbing from you for many generations. The Vietnam War was a big lie. Look it up. The Tonkin Gulf incident. The U.S. government lied about what actually happened. So what I would do doing the last couple days, and I couldn't do it this morning. I couldn't start this morning. It was rain. I have too many colonies. Don't have enough mediums. I have a lot of mediums on my large colonies. I'll show you. And this right here is a frame cage. I call it a frame cage. What I did was the colonies that I take a medium off, and I would set it up against this hive. Well, I'll show you. Okay, like that. I'm taking mediums off large colonies, and I'm checking for, I check all the frames of brood for the queen. And then I also, before I would set this on there, a couple hours after I set it here, I would make sure I'd find that queen in the other colony. But anyway, if there's no queen in here, after an hour or two, they'll start buzzing, and these bees will start drifting from this medium into the deep here, and they will join up with the other colony. And for any colony that was small, like I said, it's July 23rd. It's kind of important for me to get these colonies built up before the robbing starts next month. So if the colony was small, I would put the queen in a cage overnight. You don't need to wait 2 or 3 days. That's for large colonies. It depends on the size of the colony. If you have a small colony, it only takes like overnight or maybe 24 hours. So let me put this back together. I'll pause this. All right, this is an existing colony from last year. I split in April to give some of the colonies that had queens but were really small some extra bees. And then in May, when I actually did my mating nukes, I split. And and I've been pulling a frame out, almost one frame per colony per week. And these here, they're not growing that much. I haven't done anything with these in quite a while. So this is where I'm going to get to this afternoon. And here are brand new colonies with brand new laying queens. So what I'm doing is I'm taking, and here's a colony here. I have two actually colonies that had a laying queen and decided that she wasn't any good, and then they redid her. One of them just got the virgin queen, came out overnight. This one here still has queen cells. So here it is, July 23rd, and I still have queen cells. Not a situation I'd like to be in, but that's the way it is. This is a brand new colony, started beginning of May. This one and these down here. The sooner you start your colony, the better off they're going to be. These will be large enough to winter outside this winter. And this one here, they weren't successful the first round until the second round. So the first round makes a big difference. And it also depends on the size of the mating nuke, how much brood you have on a frame. That makes a huge difference. So anyway, I leave one medium here. It's on top of the deeps. And I'll take this medium off. And I have deeps in my storage shed that are going to go to colonies that aren't quite ready for them yet. So that gives me more time to build more hive bodies. And that deep's going to go on here. And I'll show you the ones I've done already. Okay, I did these Friday. I did about 6 of them Friday afternoon before they started getting wild. When the bees start coming back around 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they start getting wild. And you have some colonies like, let's see, 117. 117. Very aggressive. I don't like to use smoke because it makes the bees even more wild. But they were very aggressive. I couldn't open them up without getting stung. I used smoke, and they start running around in the hive. And if the workers and the nurse bees are running around in the hive, you know your queen is. So I never did find the queen in that one, and I thought that the next day I would look for her if I have time. Try to do that first because I just want to see the queen in all these colonies. So I've got that one, and I think 67. But anyway, I have to look at my notes. You can only do so many a day. Sometimes it takes 15, 20 minutes per colony. When you're taking this is where I left off. This right here's got 3. And the majority of these colonies are full. I would need to do this anyway. This is the quality of my bees. Anybody on YouTube can compare their bees to my bees. Go ahead. There, I'm getting stung now. This is what I got to deal with. I've been taking frames off of them for my mating nukes and doing splits. And while I was doing mating nukes, they were filling up frames with honey. And they're full. They're all full. So I've got to take these frames, these mediums off that are full of honey and give them a deep. And then the colonies here, these all have mediums now. All the new colonies have mediums. The ones over there I showed you previous to this part here, I got to do those. And along the garage there, I have to do those. So what I do is when I pull a medium away, I go through and I check all the frames that have brood. And any frames that have brood, I look for the queen real quick like. And if I don't find the queen on it, I go ahead and move it over there. And then after I pulled off all the mediums, they're still stinging me. They're pissed off today. So after I remove the top 2 mediums, I leave the other medium there. That's when I start checking the hive for the queen. And I just want to see the queen because I haven't. Who has time, when you have over 200 colonies, who has time every 2 weeks to check for your queen in every colony? I don't, but I would just like to check to see if she's still there. Wow. I'm backing away because I don't have my smoker. Well, anyway, 150 new colonies. And gotta say, even when it's rough like this, I still love working with bees. I hate people. I hate Americans. I keep telling you, you guys are so fucking stupid. Uncle Sam's fucking you up the ass, and apparently you guys love it. You guys love having Uncle Sam's dick shoved up your ass because you guys don't say anything about it. You don't do anything about it. If you all thought like me, this government would have been overthrown years ago. Back in Ruby Ridge, Waco, you know, Janet Reno killed all those children at Waco. David Koresh, I remember that. I remember that, all right? Those children were innocent. But Janet Reno, she couldn't leave them alone. She went ahead and she pushed on, and David Koresh burned the place down, or even if he didn't do it and the government did it, all those children died. And what happened at Ruby Ridge? Well, the FBI shot a woman in the head, an innocent woman in the head. Okay, your government's corrupt, and I'm sick of the government, and I'm sick of fucking you Americans that fucking support your government, run around with the U.S. flag on your vehicle, U.S. flag on your property, and churches that have a U.S. flag. Come on. We have a separation of religion and state in this country. Any church that has a flag, I've actually had a church want me to put lights for their flag, and I said, no, not as long as you're flying a U.S. flag, I'm not going to wire up lights for your stupid fucking flag, all right? You guys are a bunch of stupid fucking morons, and if you guys don't like what I have to say, and you want to leave messages on my phone, go ahead, keep fucking doing it, because I love it when I'm irritating you, because you irritate the hell out of me, all right? Thank you.